welcome to the SUNY Law 2021 Crochet as Self-Care event. If you're participating in this event, you'll need to pick up a few things. First, you'll want to get a hook. Now, you're going to need a 6mm hook for this event, which is also known as a J-hook. And there are different types of hooks you will see as you go to look and pick up your hook. So you may find a tapered hook, which is this one right here, or you may find an inline hook, which is this one right here. And the reason they call it inline is because the head is in line with the shaft. So which one should you get? It actually doesn't matter. As you crochet, you may decide you like one over the other, but for the purposes of getting started, I don't really find that the inline or the tapered is any easier to use for beginners, so pick up whatever you have available. Again, it needs to be a 6mm hook, also known as a J-hook. Now, what material should you get them in? So you'll probably find aluminum. I always like the ergonomic hooks. I think it's worth spending the few extra bucks on it because it doesn't make a difference in terms of the comfort in your hand. There's also hooks that have polymer handles. I also find these very comfortable. And then there are wooden hooks as well. This one happens to be made out of bamboo. So again, it doesn't really matter which one you pick up as long as it's 6mm or a J hook. Now, just some info about the hook itself, none of which is really going to matter. But just so you know the anatomy of a hook, we have the head, we have the throat area, which is where the yarn gets caught up as you're pulling through loops and stitches. You have the shaft, and then in some cases you have a thumb rest. So that's basically a hook in a nutshell. Now we have a ball of yarn. So something you may encounter, as I did when I first started, was the term tail end and working end. So the very end of the yarn, this is the tail end. The end that's connected to the ball is the working end because that is where you're working from. Now, that's really all you need to get started. I do recommend also having a yarn needle or a darning needle so you can sew in your ends. When you are finished, we will be making a face scrubby. But some other things you might consider getting depending on what you're planning on tackling. So for instance, if you want to make a cute little amigurumi like this little dude right here, one thing you might want to invest in are some stitch markers. That's because this little lemon guy over here is worked in the round, in spirals, and so these help you keep count as you are adding round by round. So something to consider if you think you might want to make something cute like this. All right, stay tuned for our next video and we're going to talk about getting started. Just a final note about yarns. If you're participating in the Crochet as Self-Care, you will want to pick up some yarn. And I suggest going with the Lily Sugar and Cream 100% cotton. And I suggest going with it in a very light color. And the reason I suggest this is so that you can see your stitches. So you want to pick up something that's like this color. You do not want to get something in this color. Although this is fun to work with when you are more advanced in your crochet skills. The variegated yarn makes it really difficult to see your stitches, so don't go with that. Go with a nice, light, solid color. Now, if you don't have access to Lily Sugar and Cream, but you have access to 100% cotton yarn, just make sure somewhere on the label it says 100% cotton, and also make sure that it says a medium 4 weight. So you want to look for this symbol on your yarn because that tells you how thick basically the strand is, and so you want to get a 4 because the pattern that we're going to do for practice is best done with a medium weight yarn.